Hi there, Chris from TotallyEV, and here we're doing a dedicated audio review of the new Honda HR-V. If you'd like a detailed review of the vehicle itself, do check it up on your pop banner, down the description below, or indeed in the pinned comments. Now to kick things off, we're going to talk about its audio configuration, whereby there's 3 different speakers configurations. Here it's determined by the trim levels. In the Elegance, you've got the 4-speaker system, whereby you've got 1 within each door. If you go for the Advanced trim, you'll get an additional 2 drivers, and that's in form of tweeters found towards the A-pillars. And if you go for the Advanced style, which we have on review, you've then got the tweeters found towards the rear of the cabin, a center channel speaker as well, and an all-important subwoofer in the boot, which is all great to see. Honda have unfortunately not shared the overall wattage of the systems and have kept it close to their hearts, even though we did try our best to get that information from them. Nevertheless, for you to tinker around with the audio drivers, you have got dedicated EQs. At least in the Advanced style, you have got a treble, mid-range bass and subwoofer adjustments. In our case, we've added 4 notches to the treble EQ, left the mid-range untouched, and taken 1 notch off the bass EQ. As for the subwoofer, we've also taken 1 notch off it as well. Of course, this is all very subjective, so do share your own audio settings down in the comment section below. Now, for you to connect up to the infotainment system, you have got Bluetooth, where unfortunately only the SBC and AAC codecs are supported, but you can also connect wirelessly via Apple CarPlay, and you can connect over a wired connection both on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We would hope to see Android Auto connected over wireless format as well in the future, but when it comes to an audiophile point of view, you'll definitely want to resort to using the wired connection at all times where possible. So moving swiftly on, this brings us onto cabin noise, and here we're left a little bit disappointed. Now at a standstill, we recorded 37 dBA, which is a little bit above some of its competitors, driving at 20 to 30 miles an hour, 58 to 61 dBA, driving at 40 miles an hour, 62 to 65 dBA, and driving at 70 miles an hour, this went up to 71 to 74 dBA. Now, apart from the sound meter readings, it is actually quite disappointing that you can hear quite a bit of road noise creeping in towards the front of the cabin, namely from the tires. You can hear wind deflecting off the A-pillars, and just to add to all of its misery, you can then also hear the engine thrashing away, at least when you demand some power from the HR-V. In fact, here's a little snippet as to how it sounds like. Indeed, that 1.5 litre engine can be heard at the front and at the rear of the cabin, and therefore takes away from the in-cabin experience. Now, at a standstill, we're going to give you an audio demo. I'm going to be placing the camera and the microphone in 4 separate locations, and we're going to be playing back a track. The song is from Priya J, and it's titled Falling. If you're interested in hearing it or purchasing it for yourself, do check it out down in the description below.
Young and soared high, then learn how to fly. It's the only way I know how to play this game to success. I'm not quite sussed it yet. When I reach the brink, don't stop to think. I always think, and now thing is my imagination is constantly racing 1,000 miles ahead. I'm living in my own mind, but it's floating. I'm always hoping. When I reach the brink, don't stop to think. I always think, and now
So with the audio demo out of the way, which I appreciate is never ideal because it's compressed over YouTube using a microphone and never will give you a real lifelike experience, let's get on to my subjective opinion. And first off, in terms of the sub-bass response, it's seriously impressive and took us by surprise. The subwoofer, at least in the Advanced style, provides you a lot of low-end grunt and will give you all that enjoyment if you're listening to R&B, D&B, or let's say drum and bass. It's not going to be as good as more expensive subwoofer systems out there in the market, but nevertheless for a vehicle of its price, it's certainly class leading. As for its mid-bass, it's plenty punchy and concise as well. It doesn't sound wobbly in the slightest, and you don't hear any sort of wobble or rattle coming from the door frames, which is a definite plus point. As for the mid-range, unfortunately, it's a little bit recessed and pushed back, specifically the lower mids. Now you can EQ this through the infotainment system, but we did find adding even 1 single notch to the mid-range EQ does detract from the overall accuracy. As such, listening back to Priya's vocals or let's say male vocals, it's just not going to sound as accurate as one might expect from a reference system. As a result, you'll just have to accept that it's got that V-shaped sound signature, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it means that the mid-range just doesn't come out to the forefront. As for the highs, they extend really well both at the front and at the rear of the cabin, at least in an advanced style model, because you've got those dedicated tweeters. They're fantastic in terms of their positioning, and the overall high-end extension will definitely keep you excited. Speaking of which, the overall soundstage is also pretty impressive. Given the size of the cabin, you'd expect it to be a little bit lackluster, but nevertheless here you do get a relatively good width and depth, and you've got decent instrument separation. This could have been bolstered if Honda had integrated even more drivers throughout the cabin, but nevertheless here we must say we're very impressed. Ultimately, what we're trying to convey over here is that the Honda HR-V's audio system, at least in an advanced style, is very impressive. For a vehicle of its class and indeed price, it's absolutely mind-blowing to see what Honda have been able to achieve. While it won't compete with more premium systems out there at the market, it certainly does get our recommendation. Now, we'd be intrigued to hear your thoughts of the new Honda HR-V's audio system down in the comment section below. And if you've liked this detailed independent review, definitely do drop a like, subscribe and hit that bell notification, all of which would be greatly appreciated. As such, I've been Chris from TotallyEV, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and goodbye.